There are the 7 levels of natural disasters. Humanity has already experienced the first 5, but scientists have warned us about the last 2. Level 1. Local disasters. Level 1 disasters sit at a roughly 2 out of 10 strength. They are the most common types of natural disaster and the ones modern societies are built to handle. These events are usually confined to a single city or a small area. Flash floods after extreme rainfall, storms that knock out power grids, or earthquakes strong enough to crack buildings but not collapse them entirely. A clear example is the 2011 Church Christ earthquake in New Zealand. While powerful enough to cause serious damage and loss of life, the impact remained largely local. Emergency services continued operating, outside assistance arrived quickly, and national systems were never overwhelmed. The city suffered, but the country did not stop functioning. At this level, infrastructure is stressed but not broken. Hospitals operate under pressure, and utilities fail temporarily, but the system behind them remain untouched. Governments respond quickly, insurance systems hold, and rebuilding begins almost immediately. Most importantly, people are able to stay at their places. Evacuations are limited, displacement is short-term, and communities remain geographically intact. Historically, Level 1 disasters are remembered as major events locally, but they rarely change a nation's trajectory. Recovery is measured in weeks, sometimes months, and the environment usually stabilizes on its own. Level 2. Regional disasters. Level 2 disasters move closer to a 4 out of 10, and the shift is obvious the moment they begin. Instead of affecting one city, they spread across entire regions, often crossing state or provincial borders. The damage compounds quickly, and the response systems begin to struggle. We can clearly see this in the 2019-2020 Australian bushfires. Fires burned across multiple states, destroying thousands of homes, killing wildlife on a massive scale, and filling cities hundreds of kilometers away with toxic smoke for weeks. Entire communities were evacuated, some permanently. At this level, destruction is no longer just about infrastructure. It's about land, ecosystems, and long-term habitability. Forests take decades to regrow. Farmland becomes unusable. Local economies collapse as tourism, agriculture, and small businesses disappear. Emergency services are still functioning, but they're stretched thin. Aid arrives unevenly. Recovery depends heavily on location, funding, and political response. Many people rebuild, many others don't. History shows that Level 2 disasters leave visible scars years later. Abandoned towns, altered landscapes, and populations that never fully return. While society continues to function, certain regions are fundamentally changed. This is the point where disaster stops being temporary interruptions and starts reshaping entire areas. So if this is just a Level 2, you'll be shocked on what's there on the last level. Level 3. National disasters. Level 3 disasters push a country to its limits, with widespread destruction and serious loss of life. These events rank around 5.5 out of 10, and they're no longer local interruptions. They affect entire nations, disrupting infrastructure, economies, and daily life on a massive scale. Take the 2005 Hurricane Katrina in the United States. Winds reached 280 kilometers per hour at peak, and the storm surge flooded nearly 80% of New Orleans, destroying homes, businesses, and hospitals. Over 1,800 people died, and hundreds of thousands were displaced. Critical levees failed, and emergency systems collapsed in several areas. For weeks, basic supplies, food, water, medical care were scarce, and the city was unrecognizable. Recovery took years, and even now, some neighborhoods have never fully returned to normal. National disasters don't just destroy property, they overwhelm governance. Power grids fail, highways become impassable, and communication lines are cut. Agricultural regions are ruined, leading to food shortages and price spikes nationwide. At this level, the disaster leaves permanent scars on both the country and its people. Millions can be affected, and rebuilding can take years or even decades in the hardest hit regions. Level 4. Continental disasters. Level 4 disasters cross borders, affecting entire continents. They rank around a 6.5 to 7 out of 10, and the scale is staggering. The destruction isn't just physical. Climate, agriculture, and populations all feel the impact. Consider the 1815 eruption of Mount Tambora in Indonesia, one of the most powerful volcanic eruptions in recorded history. It released an estimated 160 cubic kilometers of ash and rock into the atmosphere, sending the planet into what became known as the year without a summer. Temperatures dropped by 5 Celsius globally, leading to widespread crop failures in Asia, Europe, and North America. Famine killed tens of thousands, and communities thousands of kilometers away struggled to survive. At this level, disasters don't just challenge a single government, they overwhelm multiple nations. Air travel can stop, trade halts, and borders close as societies struggle to cope with shortages. The environment itself can take decades to stabilize. Populations suffer not only from immediate destruction, but from long-term consequences: starvation, disease, and displacement. For millions, survival becomes a day-to-day challenge, and the effects ripple across countries, economies, and generations. Level 5. Global-scale disasters. Level 5 disasters are the ones that hit many countries at once, causing trouble for millions and sometimes tens of millions of people. On the danger scale, these are about a 7.5 out of 10. A real example is the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami, which is one of the deadliest disasters in modern history. The earthquake itself measured a 9.1 on the Richter scale, and it triggered massive waves that swept across 14 countries, including Indonesia, Thailand, India, and Sri Lanka. Some waves reach over 30 meters high in certain areas. Cities and villages along the coast were completely wiped out. Roads, bridges, and homes vanished. Entire communities were buried under water or trash. The human toll was staggering. Over 230,000 people died, and millions more were left homeless. Relief efforts were massive, but with so many countries affected at once, supplies ran out. Hospitals were overwhelmed, and communication broke down. Fishing and farming communities lost their livelihoods, and some towns never fully recovered. Even countries far from the epicenter felt the disaster. Air travel was disrupted, ports were closed, and global trade slowed in certain industries. Food prices went up in some regions because of lost crops and shipping delays. Level 5 disasters show how connected countries are. A single event in one region can ripple across continents. Life becomes dangerous and unpredictable, and people must rely on immediate action, luck, and aid to survive. By the time Level 5 ends, millions of people are affected, thousands of lives are lost, and recovery can take years. And after this, scientists warn that even worse events could happen. Coming in, Level 6. Level 6. Civilization-threatening disasters. Level 6 disasters are the ones that could almost collapse modern civilization. They rank about an 8.5 out of 10 on the danger scale. These are events that haven't happened yet, but experts warn could occur in the near future, and their scale is truly terrifying. One example is a supervolcano eruption, like the Yellowstone supervolcano in the United States. If it erupted, it could throw enough rock and dust into the sky to block sunlight for months, making it almost impossible to grow crops. Food shortages would hit many countries at once. Billions of people could be at risk from starvation, exposure, or disease. Cities could be covered in layers of dust, and air travel could stop for months. Another example is a large asteroid hitting Earth, something scientists track carefully. Even a rock a few kilometers wide could wipe out entire countries instantly, push dust and debris into the atmosphere, and trigger massive fires and floods. Millions could die in the first hours, and the after effects could last for years. Climate disasters are also at this level. Experts warn that extreme events like rapid ice sheet collapse, massive sea level rise, or sudden climate shifts could flood coastal cities, destroy farmland, and force millions to migrate at the same time. Governments might struggle to respond, and entire regions could be abandoned. At Level 6, survival becomes a daily challenge. Life as we know it could change completely in a matter of months. And beyond this, there's Level 7, a disaster so extreme that even scientists can't fully predict it, where survival may be impossible. Level 7. the ultimate disaster. I give this level a 9.5 out of 10 on the danger scale. Level 7 disasters are the kind of events that could end life as we know it. Scientists call them extremely unlikely, but if they happen, nothing on Earth could survive the same way again. This is a level beyond anything humanity has ever faced. One possibility is a nearby supernova. That's when a star explodes in space. If it happens close enough, a burst of radiation could reach Earth and destroy the ozone layer in minutes. The sun's deadly radiation would burn the surface. Crops, animals, and humans could all die from the heat and radiation. Oceans could heat up suddenly, triggering massive storms. Another terrifying event is a rogue black hole passing near our solar system. Scientists warn that even a small black hole could disturb Earth's orbit. Imagine the planet tilting or being thrown into a slower or faster orbit. Seasons could change drastically. One year could become a freezing winter, the next a scorching summer. Earthquakes and volcanoes could erupt everywhere because of the sudden stress on the crust. Water levels could rise or fall unpredictably. Life as we know it could collapse. A third possibility is Earth literally breaking apart. Scientists say a collision with a massive object, like a small planet, could fracture the Earth's crust on a global scale. Entire continents could split. Oceans could spill into cracks thousands of kilometers long. The atmosphere could leak into space. Civilization would be destroyed instantly, and only tiny groups of survivors in isolated shelters might live. There's also the threat of a runaway chain reaction in the Earth's core. If for some reason the molten core started acting unpredictably, magnetic fields could vanish, the surface could crack, and gravity might weaken in some places. Communication, satellites, and electronics could fail everywhere. Cities could collapse as buildings shift or sink. At this level, there is no warning, no defense, and almost no chance of survival. Entire countries, continents, maybe humanity itself could vanish in days, hours, or even minutes, depending on the event. Level 7 is terrifying because it's unknown, unstoppable, and unimaginably powerful. But this was a 9.5 out of 10 on the danger scale. So tell me in the comments below, what would be a 10 out of 10 disaster, and how likely will it happen? Also, if you want to check a level 3 disaster that happened in real life, check this video out.